got to go. We've got to get going if we're going to do our deadline. Come on, Goose.
4,000 kilometres away in Launceston, Tasmania.
We'll get moving.
Beekeeping truck driver Lindsay Bourke has to get to his hives urgently.
A farmer just rang me this morning. We've got the pressure under us. We've got to get a lot of hives off.
Lindsay has 80,000 of his bees pollinating a carrot crop for a local farmer.
We've got to get out to the site as quickly as we can.
But it's time to move them on. A highly specialised and dangerous job.
They're going to defend their hive, that's their home, and we're going to do something extreme to them. We're going to load them onto a truck and move them somewhere.
A job requiring expert know-how, vigilance and experience.
That's what I've been doing all my life, so I'm trained for it, thank goodness. We give them a little bit of smell of smoke.
Smoking the bees calms them, giving the beekeepers a short window in which to move the hives safely.
Okie doke, we ready then?
It's a big operation with big dollars at stake.
The first one's the most important.
The bees make some of the most expensive honey in the world. From this field, Lindsay faces a long and torturous drive, high into the ancient rainforests in Tasmania's mountain country.
Oh, gee. Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Negotiating terrible forest tracks.
They'll all be shook up. You better put your veil on when we get up here.
To deliver the bees to their next work site.
I don't want to damage my truck.
Flowering deep in the forest at this time of year are the sought-after leatherwood trees.
This is what it's all about. Beautiful leatherwoods like this.
Found only in a small area of Western Tasmania, the trees provide the nectar for Lindsay's prized honey.
This honey has been voted the best honey in the world at the World Beekeeping Congress.
In high demand across the globe, leatherwood honey is big business.
Each one of those is 10 kilos of honey, and we get $10 a kilo for it, so that's $100 a super. There's one sting in my eye.
But he earns every cent.
In your eye's the worst place.
Bees in Australia are responsible for more deaths than the continent's long list of deadly spiders and snakes.
It's not like normal livestock. If anything happens, they're lethal to people. Very dangerous.
Lindsay's journey today is from near Launceston, heading southwest to drop his bees at a forest site near the town of Corinna, then on to Mount Black to pick up honey to deliver to a processing plant at Sheffield. But with just the one truck, there's barely enough room for all the hives. Lindsay will have to go high. If a stack topples, tens of thousands of dollars could be lost, and he'll be facing a very angry swarm of bees.
Not bad. I didn't think we were going to get them all on, but we had to put a few up top to do it.
The tricky loading is only half the job. Now Lindsay's ready to hit the road.
High load like that, rough roads, the truck sways a bit, so we've got to make sure that they keep steady. I've got a long way to go, 4.5 hours.
His first challenge, the narrow winding lanes through the rainforest.
It's dangerous coming into these blind corners.
Loaded so high, he has to avoid low-hanging branches and stick to the middle of the road.
People just don't expect that you'll have a heavily laden bee truck coming at you.
In Tasmania, beekeeper Lindsay Bourke is grinding his way along a steep mountain road.
Very careful descending into a place like this because we have tourists on the same roads and they are not expecting a larger truck coming around a little narrow corner.
The double-stacked load of beehives he's relocating means he needs to stay close to the centre of the road to avoid low-hanging branches, trapping a long line of impatient drivers behind him.
Quite frustrating if you're following the slow truck up a place like this. Nowhere to drive off, but if I can find a spot, I'll let a few people go. There we are. All right, so they appreciate it. That's a win for everybody. And they'll say, oh, aren't they lovely people in Tasmania? We must come back again.
But Lindsay's routine run on the good roads is about to end. From here, the going gets tough.
It's worse than I expected.
With an overheight load, getting through here is going to take some determined driving.
So that's going to hit the hives.
If Lindsay takes too long, the pacifying effect of the smoke on the bees will soon wear off.
Yeah, all shaking around like that's not good for them. All that, even that one.
And they'll try to escape. A mass exodus would be foiled by the protective netting, but they'd be trapped and die.
I don't want to damage my truck.
Lindsay's valuable cargo would be decimated.
I'm committed now, I have to do it. We've got the bees on, and I'm halfway in, so I have to proceed.
With no way to turn around, the only way out is to keep going. In Tasmania, Lindsay's struggling along a bumpy mountain track.
This track's so bad that I think this is the last time I'll bring this truck in here. Now, I've lost a bit of traction on that. There we go. Bring it back. Oh, jeez. Now, let me think here. Put on the hill start. Go down low. Here we go. Well, she didn't want to do that, did she?
How you going back there, Lindsay?
Struggling because the track's so narrow. You must have had trouble as well.
I took it slow, that's for sure.
You see, the thing is, if I got into trouble here, I'd really be in trouble. That's why I've sent a four-wheel drive truck in ahead of me, so he could pull me out and pull me straight again if he had to. To get into the real good spots, the good sites, you've got to negotiate these terrible access points.
After a long, tough slog through the bush,
They're full of honey, mate.
Here we are. For a beekeeper, this is the best sight you can see.
while the transported hives are offloaded to their new location,
Look at this.
Lindsay takes the opportunity to inspect the existing hives.
This is our first leatherwood of the season. Look at that. The hives are full, beautiful honey's coming in, and a lot more to come, so a really good day for us.
But Lindsay doesn't have time to savour the sweet success. Now he has to race to a second inaccessible site to collect full frames of honey and get them to the processing plant.
Our beekeepers have been to other sites for me, and they've taken the honey off in, and a lot more to come, so a really good day for us.
But Lindsay doesn't have time to savour the sweet success. Now he has to race to a second inaccessible site to collect full frames of honey and get them to the processing plant.
Our beekeepers have been to other sites for me, and they've taken the honey off those, going to bring it in, and we'll put it on this larger truck and take it to Sheffield. From reports I've had, there's going to be a good showing up here, so that's what it's all about. And they're all here waiting for me now. I'm late.
Like the first site, this area is a cramped clearing in the forest, making Lindsay's job almost impossible.
Can you move it up for me and I'll load it up? Thank you. 6 trucks in this bee site. There's not enough room anywhere, so we're going to have to be careful where we put them. I want to get away from here at 2 o'clock if I can. Take me hours to get to Sheffield. The key's in it. Just run it forward, do anything.
With the clock ticking, Lindsay needs this load to go smoothly.
Oh no! No, Lewis, you can't do that.
In Tasmania, Lindsay Bourke's team is racing the clock to get the valuable leatherwood honey to the processing plant.
See, I don't even care whether you get these finished or not. I've got to get everything on there that I can and get out of it.
But a congested workplace and a few late trucks have him behind schedule.
We may have to stick that truck out of the way for us. Right, I need to move the nets up the back for me. I'm under a little bit of pressure now because I have to drive slowly and carefully because I've got a big weight on here and I don't want to lose anything, and I've got to get there before everyone knocks off. We ready? We've got to get moving.
After a big group effort,
Righto, boys, thank you.
the loading is done.
See you. We're all clear and we're off.
With the Tasmanian leatherwood honey season lasting only 2 months of the year, every delivery counts. Lindsay needs to make it to the extraction plant before close of business. But first he has to get his fully loaded truck down the mountain.
I've got to get there, but I don't want to be late, but I can't hurry. I've got to take my time and let the truck do the work. Look at all these tourists.
Impatient tourists aren't always ready for a slow-moving bee truck on winding roads.
Some corners will come up quite quickly. You've got to be ready for that.
Up ahead, a 180-degree turn in the road.
We've got another tight bend here at the end of this straight, just around the corner. Something I'm going to have to be very careful of and make sure that the person behind me doesn't try and shoot through.
But approaching the bend,
Okay, look at this. This is what happens.
one after the other,
Oh, gee.
drivers overtake into a blind corner.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
The last of the kamikaze traffic is through. Lindsay now has to make sure he gets to the factory before the gate closes and before his precious cargo of honey becomes a target for a swarm of thieves.
The resident bees, the bees that live in the town, will smell it, and once they sample a little bit of it, they steal a little bit, then they'll go back to all their friends and they'll all come. So we've got to be pretty quick.
He's down safely, but if the plant is shut, he'll be left stranded with a truckload of honey and the threat from the robber bees.
We're just stretching the limits here a little bit. Hopefully they're still operating. That's wonderful. Wonderful to get here with a load of honey.
Lindsay's made it just in time.
Good load, Mark. Tyres are half flat.
Finally, this unique honey can be extracted, ready to be shipped to thousands of people around the world.
Gee, look at that. The best honey in the whole world, and it comes from our small state here in Tasmania. Same thing tomorrow. I live for it.